The Las Vegas Strip has always sold itself on spectacle. Even a mid-tier hotel is supposed to feel like part of the show the second you walk through the doors. The lights, the theming, the sense that you paid for an experience, not just a room with a bed in it. The same way any well-run theme park resort sells the idea that you're paying for immersion rather than just a mattress and four walls. That pitch doesn't always hold up anymore, no matter how much the marketing insists otherwise. At 12 specific hotels on and around the Strip right now, the gap between what's being sold at booking and what guests are actually walking into once they arrive has gotten wide enough to show up in disputed bills, guest reviews, and in 2 cases, real public financial filings that leave very little room for interpretation or spin. Some of what's coming is the kind of thing you'd expect from a city built on constant renovation cycles and turnover. A room that hasn't been touched since a decade-old refresh, a fee that's higher than it has any business being. But by the time we get to number 1, we're not talking about a bad guest review anymore, or one unlucky night. We're talking about a mega resort that cost over $4 billion to build. In its own publicly traded parent company's financial filings confirm just how badly it's actually struggling right now, in numbers, filed with regulators rather than posted in a comment section. Quick reminder to hit subscribe before we get into this one. Let's count down 12 Las Vegas hotels falling apart right now. Number 12, Oyo Hotel and Casino. This property built its entire marketing strategy around aggressively low headline rates, sometimes advertised as low as $1 a night, positioned as a legitimate budget alternative just off the Strip for guests who don't want to pay full resort prices for a place to sleep between casino trips. One guest who booked through a third-party platform that specifically advertised all fees as included arrived at the front desk to be told the resort fee alone would run $775, a number so far removed from what they'd actually paid that they immediately tried to cancel the entire reservation on the spot, only to be told the platform could only refund them if OYO itself agreed to release them from the booking. The standard resort fee here otherwise runs somewhere between $45 and $51 a night, which is already steep for a property that markets itself hard on rock-bottom advertised rates rather than genuine value underneath the sticker price. The guest called the whole situation the biggest scam they'd encountered anywhere in Vegas, specifically pointing to the disconnect between what the booking platform promised in writing and what actually showed up on the bill once they were standing at check-in with luggage in hand and nowhere else to go that night. A $1 headline rate that quietly turns into hundreds of dollars in disputed front desk fees isn't a pricing quirk you stumble into by accident. That's the business model working exactly as designed, start to finish. Number 11, Westgate. This convention-adjacent resort carries genuine history, built on Elvis Presley's record-breaking run of consecutive sold-out shows decades ago, connected to the Strip by its own dedicated monorail stop, and anchored by one of the largest sports books in the entire world. Guest review aggregation across multiple platforms consistently points to the same 2 issues showing up trip after trip, year after year. Decor that feels noticeably dated compared to newer competitors nearby, and housekeeping that guests describe as inconsistent from one stay to the next, sometimes even within the same trip. The resort's whole atmosphere depends heavily on convention traffic actually being in town that specific week, which means the exact same property can feel completely different depending purely on the calendar rather than anything the hotel itself changed about its operations. A resort built this heavily around a convention schedule is only ever as good as whatever week you happen to book, and that's a genuinely difficult thing to plan an entire vacation around months in advance. Number 10, Planet Hollywood. This resort leans entirely into movie and celebrity theming, positioned as a mid-tier option sitting right in the heart of the Strip, with real star power baked into the branding and genuine memorabilia lining its walls throughout the casino floor. The resort fee here runs $50 a night, covering little beyond basic Wi-Fi access and a couple of daily fitness center passes, a genuinely standard rate for the mid-tier bracket, but still a real added cost that guests routinely report being caught off guard by once they actually reach checkout. The gap between the movie star fantasy the branding sells at booking and the fairly ordinary bill waiting at the end of the stay is exactly where guests start feeling like they overpaid for theming rather than for anything resembling genuine substance. The theming does its job selling the fantasy up front. The resort fee is where that fantasy runs headlong into the actual bill sitting on the counter. Number 9. Flamingo. This is one of the Strip's original, most historic properties, still trading heavily on decades of brand recognition and a genuinely well-loved pool complex that regulars specifically return for year after year, regardless of whatever else has changed about the hotel around it in that time. Room quality here varies dramatically depending purely on which tower you end up booked into, with guests consistently reporting that the newer Geo rooms are genuinely modern and updated, while rooms in the older towers carry specific repeated complaints about outdated decor and maintenance issues, including inconsistent hot water on certain floors during certain seasons of the year. Two guests can book the exact same hotel, pay nearly identical rates through the exact same booking site, and walk away with completely different impressions purely based on which specific building they got assigned to at check-in that particular night. At a hotel this historic and this widely recognized, "it depends which room you get," isn't a reassurance anyone actually wants to hear before a trip. It's a warning to double-check exactly what you're booking down to the specific tower before you hand over a deposit and lock in your dates for good. Number 8. The Linq. Marketed specifically toward a younger, trendier crowd than most of its neighbors up and down the Strip, this hotel sits on genuinely prime Central Strip real estate right next to the high roller observation wheel, one of the single most photographed spots anywhere on the entire boulevard, day or night. Rooms here haven't received any serious renovation attention since the property transitioned away from its previous identity as the Quad and the Imperial Palace back in 2015, meaning guests checking in today are staying in accommodations that have gone a full decade without a meaningful, comprehensive update to match the trendier image the marketing keeps promising. Reviewers specifically describe chipping paint in bathrooms throughout the property, visibly stained walls in multiple rooms across different floors, and window curtains that are quite literally falling apart at the seams after years of steady wear without replacement. On busy summer days, the packed pool deck gets so crowded that one review described the pool itself as looking like a human stew by mid-afternoon, with barely any open water visible between the guests packed in shoulder to shoulder. Great real estate and a younger marketing angle simply can't cover for rooms that haven't been meaningfully touched since before half of today's guests even started following the hotel's own social media accounts in the first place. Number 7. Treasure Island. This was one of the Strip's original fully themed resorts, and it still trades on nostalgia for its pirate show history even years after scaling that original theming back considerably from its full early 90s kitsch, though the treasure and pirate decor is still genuinely present throughout much of the property today. Recent reviews describe genuinely malfunctioning air conditioning that left an entire hotel stay uncomfortably warm, despite repeated maintenance visits and a filter change that didn't solve the underlying problem. A casino so smoky it clearly needs a real ventilation upgrade rather than another patch job, and at least one guest who specifically booked a strip view room and was handed a view of ongoing construction work instead with no adjustment offered. None of this is really about the theme fading the way the popular narrative around Treasure Island tends to claim whenever the hotel comes up in casual conversation online. A resort doesn't need to abandon its pirate ship out front to genuinely lose guests over time. Broken air conditioning and a casino you can't comfortably breathe in for more than 20 minutes will do exactly the same job, and honestly, do it faster than any theming decision ever could on its own. Number 6. Circus Circus. This is the Strip's longest continuously running, budget-friendly, family-oriented option. Built around the Adventure Dome, a genuinely large indoor theme park, most competitors on the Strip simply don't have the physical space to replicate at any price point, complete with roller coasters and a full arcade under one roof. Owner Phil Ruffin publicly confirmed to Forbes that he's actively looking to sell the property, describing its real value in terms of the raw acreage sitting underneath it, rather than the resort operation actually running on top of that land right now, calling it some of the best remaining land on the entire West Coast in the same interview. Separately, a documented bedbug problem surfaced at the hotel within the past year, the kind of story that spreads fast online and sticks around in guests' minds for a long time afterward, regardless of how isolated the actual incident genuinely was in scope or how quickly it was addressed. When the owner himself is publicly talking about a hotel's value strictly in terms of real estate rather than hospitality or guest experience, that tells you exactly where his priorities currently sit, and it's not necessarily in the rooms guests are paying to sleep in tonight. Number 5. Excalibur. This medieval castle-themed budget resort has long been positioned as one of the more reliable, family-friendly options anywhere on the south end of the Strip, connected by an indoor walkway to several other major properties nearby for easy access without ever stepping outside in the desert heat. More than 2,000 rooms in the castle's Royal Tower haven't been refurbished since 2017, making them some of the oldest hotel rooms anywhere on the entire Las Vegas Strip, while the separate resort tower actually got refreshed with hand-me-down furniture pulled directly from MGM Grand sometime across 2024 and 2025, creating two genuinely different hotels operating under one roof and one name. One guest's review captured the resulting gap perfectly, describing a smoke smell lingering in the lobby, a sewer odor noticeable in certain parts of the hotel, no refrigerator provided in their room at all, and generally outdated furnishings throughout the space, concluding flatly that none of it was worth $170 a night once resort fees got tacked on top of the base room rate. A separate review even complained about the resort's own buffet, describing store-bought pastries, dry donuts, and bread pudding that looked like it had been sitting out for hours before anyone touched it. Booking Excalibur today is genuinely a coin flip on which era of the hotel you actually land in, and there's no reliable way to know which one you're getting until you're already standing in the room with your bags dropped on the floor. Number 4. Luxor. This remains one of the Strip's single most recognizable landmarks anywhere in the city. The 30-story pyramid and its skyward beam of light, drawing guests purely on visual appeal before they've even considered what's actually happening inside the building itself once they check in. Standard pyramid-shaped rooms rely on slow, awkward inclined elevators specifically engineered to match the building's sloped architecture, an experience one reviewer described as genuinely eerie given the building's age and history, and basic rooms have had their in-room refrigerators removed entirely, now requiring a paid upgrade just to get one back for the length of your stay. Multiple reviews independently describe the rooms as dated and dusty, with one guest reporting an overwhelming sewage smell along the walkway connecting toward Excalibur that they said was impossible to ignore, and another dealing with a genuine bout of food poisoning traced directly back to an on-site restaurant during their trip that ended with an emergency room visit. An iconic silhouette visible from across the entire Strip doesn't fix what guests are actually dealing with once they're inside the pyramid and the doors have closed behind them for the night. Number 3. The Strat. This hotel is anchored by the tallest observation tower anywhere on the Strip, with genuinely striking views that draw visitors purely for the skyline presence alone, even before anyone starts considering the rooms sitting below it in the actual hotel tower. One guest is actively disputing an $850 smoking cleaning fee. Charged based on sensor data, the hotel has repeatedly refused to fully explain or provide any real supporting documentation for, despite the guest and everyone in their party insisting no one had smoked in the room at any point during the stay. On top of that disputed charge, the same guest never got back a separate $300 incidental deposit they were legitimately owed after checkout, bringing their total indisputed charges to well over $1,000 for a single stay. The Better Business Bureau specifically notes this appears to be a recurring pattern showing up across multiple filed complaints against the property, not an isolated billing mistake affecting one unusually unlucky guest. On top of the fee dispute itself, the resort fee here runs $49 a night, and one guest separately reported that one of the hotel's 2 pools sat closed for an entire month during their stay with no real explanation offered to guests at any point. A disputed $850 fee backed only by sensor data the hotel won't explain isn't a one-off billing error you can reasonably write off as bad luck. The BBBB flagging it as a recurring pattern across multiple separate guests is what actually turns this into a real story worth telling rather than one unlucky night. Number 2. Fontainebleau. This is a $3.7 billion, 67-story luxury mega resort, more than 20 years in development before it finally managed to open its doors in December of 2023. Marketed hard as the Strip's newest architectural landmark and a genuine competitor to the top-tier properties sitting nearby along the same stretch of boulevard. The resort laid off more than 60 table game dealers in May of 2025 as part of broader cost-cutting measures, a round of layoffs that followed the departures of its chief financial officer, its chief technology officer, and its director of beverage development in fairly quick succession over just a few months, the kind of executive turnover that tends to signal deeper trouble than any single departure would on its own. Early reporting from sources familiar with the resort's internal financials described the property burning through significant cash in the months immediately following its opening, before the operation had fully found its footing in a genuinely competitive market that includes some of the most established luxury brands in the country. A longer investigative piece went further still, describing empty gaming floors photographed and shared widely across social media by visitors who noticed the gap between the resort's marketing and what they actually walked into, alongside a genuine Nevada Gaming Commission investigation into potential anti-money laundering violations tied to how credit was extended to at least one patron shortly after the resort first opened. A resort can look absolutely flawless in every single glowing guest review, with genuine praise for the rooms and the pool and the restaurants from guests who had a great time and still be in real financial trouble behind the scenes that those same guests never see reflected anywhere in their own individual stay. The executive departures and the layoffs are the actual tell here, not the marble in the lobby or the roses at the entrance greeting every arriving guest. And number 1, Resorts World. This is a $4.3 billion mega resort, the first ground-up hotel casino built anywhere on the Strip in more than a decade when it finally opened back in 2021, positioned from day one as a major new luxury anchor on the north end of the boulevard, built on the site the Stardust had sat vacant on since closing back in 2007. Genting Berhad, the resort's own publicly traded parent company based in Malaysia, releases quarterly financial filings that give a genuinely clear window into how the property is actually performing, unlike most Strip resorts that keep their individual numbers private. Those filings showed first quarter 2025 revenue down 22% year over year, with earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization down a full 75% across that same stretch of just 3 months. Hotel occupancy dropped from 89.1% all the way down to 82.3% across that same quarter, a meaningful slide for a property built at this scale and this price point, where every percentage point of occupancy represents real, substantial revenue. On top of the financial decline itself, Resorts World was fined $10.5 million by Nevada gaming regulators, the second largest fine ever assessed against any Nevada casino company in the state's entire history, specifically for anti-money laundering violations connected to illegal bookmakers who had been allowed to gamble freely at the property for an extended period before anyone intervened. The same quarter that fines landed, the resort laid off between 50 and 60 employees as part of the broader fallout, and leadership changes followed not long after. This isn't secondhand guest sentiment or a rough patch of bad reviews slowly piling up online over time, the way most of the rest of this list has been built. These are the publicly traded parent company's own official numbers, filed directly with financial regulators, confirming in black and white exactly how badly this specific resort is struggling right now, with no guesswork or speculation required to reach that conclusion. None of these 12 hotels is falling apart for the same reason, and that's really the whole point of putting budget, mid-tier, and mega resort properties on the same list together, rather than treating them as separate categories entirely. Some of this is straightforward renovation neglect, stretching back the better part of a decade, the way it has at the Linq in large sections of Excalibur, where guests are quite literally sleeping in rooms that haven't changed meaningfully since a previous ownership era handed the property off. Some of it is a disputed fee pattern serious enough to draw actual documented attention from the Better Business Bureau, the way it has at both OYO and the Strat, where the complaints aren't isolated incidents but recognized, recurring patterns spanning multiple guests and multiple stays. And two of these, Fontainebleau and Resorts World, are backed by real public financial filings showing genuine corporate distress, not just guest complaints piling up in a review section somewhere online where anyone can write anything. Vegas has always sold itself on spectacle covering for whatever's actually happening underneath the surface, and for decades that formula worked flawlessly because most guests never had a real reason to look past the lights and the theming. At these 12 hotels specifically, guests are increasingly finding out exactly what that underneath actually looks like, one disputed fee and one unrenovated room at a time, trip after trip. Booking a hotel purely on strip name recognition or a cheap advertised rate isn't naive, and nobody watching this should feel foolish for having done it themselves before. It's genuinely how Vegas has marketed itself for decades to enormous and lasting success across generations of visitors. It just doesn't always hold up the way it used to, and increasingly, guests are the ones left figuring that out mid-trip instead of before they ever booked the room. If you've stayed at any of these 12 recently, tell us what you actually walked into versus what the name led you to expect going in. And if this saved you from a booking you would have regretted, hit like on your way out and subscribe if you haven't already.